Hello and thank you for joining me on this video in Far Cry 5 Arcade Editor. Today we're going to talk about reflection management volumes. Now, in the editor we have been given this beautiful blue light. It's an exterior light and it reflects everywhere. It goes through buildings, underground, and saturates the map with this. It's a beautiful blue light, but it goes in and throughout everything. And it is very unnatural to have this blue light in a lot of situations. Silos, bunkers, you would have some kind of artificial light. There would be no outside light at all. And so I have a bar here, and it needs a reflection volume. And I set one up here, just this size right here for now is going to be just for test purposes. And I'll eventually make it the size of the bar itself. And you're going to find these in your objects, your audio visuals. Of course, I'm on PC. If you're on console, you're going to see something else. But you're going to know how to find your volumes. You'll find them. Anyways, you're going to want your reflection management volume. And once you grab one, set it on your map, put it where you need it. Of course, we're going to want to open up our preferences, and we're going to see X, Y, and Z. So this will make your volume size. So make it according to the size of your needs. We'll talk about priority, and cube map it's kind of like a light reflection scheme, or they call them cube maps. So we'll just call it what it is. And there's 13 of them. And we'll talk about that in just a minute too. And just remember, we have warehouse right now as a setting. And so you set your volumes. Let's turn this volume off. Make sure if they get in the way, or which in this case it will, you can go into your editor settings and turn them off. And obviously you want to turn them on when you're setting up your volumes, so that way you can see them. Okay, so knowing that volume is right there, and knowing that we have this blue light, and it is coming into the map and saturating this room. And you can see that blue haze on top of this counter. You can see that blue. It's a very light hazy blue. It might be a little green. And you can see it on the top of the counter. Obviously, it depends on your angle, and we're talking about reflective material here now. And these cabinets are reflective, but of course not as reflective as, say, those glasses over there. Or the icon for the volume itself is a reflective object. And these bottles we have a bottle here, and then we also have a let me just freeze that object so we don't bother with it. And we have other bottles over here. So these are our most reflective objects in our view at the moment. Again, especially those glasses over here is where we're going to be able to see. Now, if you set up the reflection volumes and you don't notice any change, it's very possible that the objects you have in the room, the bunker, silo, maybe there's a lot of concrete and material that doesn't reflect a lot of light. So you might not notice the change necessarily. Of course, you want to do the test, put one down, and see if it's worth putting it in. In most cases, it's definitely going to be, because it's going to remove that blue reflective light. But anyways, let's go through this. I don't want to make this a long video, and I want to try and keep this fairly short, and we can talk about more stuff in another video. We can't cover everything. It's just too much. So anyways, with that in mind, let's go through these reflection volume cube maps. And this one that I have set up is warehouse. Now, warehouse I believe to be the whitest light. And here we go. You definitely could see the blue now. And there's some green in there. There we go. Now, I believe we just injected white light. It's majority of it's white. Yeah, I see some warmer colors, tones in there. I'm not an expert on the wording for all these different lighting type tones and things, but definitely there's some warm tones in there and white cool tones. It also depends on the angle that you're at and depends on the reflective object. So these bottles naturally have a green. I think they were made green. And with that white light, I think we're having more of the natural color of the bottles. And then as soon as you step out of that volume, you could see that blue being reflected. And that's coming from the outside, going through the walls, and reflecting on those bottles. That is not natural. So that's why we definitely want to remove that reflective light. And so we use these volumes to control the reflection of light and the tone, because again we have different schemes. Let's go here. Let's see. They call them cube maps. Let's go for the first one, which is Alpine Forest. And I hate it when it does that. Let's go Alpine Forest. And in the icon itself, I think you can tell kind of what's in here. And I see greens dominating. And I see greens in those glasses. I do like that tone. Yeah, I don't want it for this bar necessarily. I think I'm going to go with the other tone. I'm trying to get a certain feel in this feeling in this bar, and this one wouldn't do it. But anyways, let's go through these. That one has a greenish. The Armageddon has warm tones. Sort of orangey warm, and we've got also number 2 here, which is a little bit lighter. Same thing as the first one, just maybe a touch lighter. I'm going to skip the bar rustic because that's the one that I like. Again, you can go in and go through all of these and see the reflective colors and kind of what kind of light reflection you're bringing into the room. And I can tell you this, that house interior, warehouse, and the underground, there's more tones of white light. Those are the 3 that have probably more white light than the others. And water has, I think, a little bit of greens in it. You could kind of see there's some green. And anyways, let's pick the one really quickly here. The one that I like is Bar Rustic. It might be a little bit too much for here, but I'm gonna go with it. And again, as I say, as you look at these icons, see the lavender that's sort of in there, and then you got those orange, deep orange tones, and look, there's some red in there. That's clearly red. And then we come over to our glasses, and we've got that lavender and those orangey tones, rusty tones, and then also go to the right angle and we get reds. Look at the strong reds in those. Yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful tones. I think I like this for in here. Yeah, I think it just goes best. But anyways, look at the difference. Now you could see a little bit on the walls, but it's not very much. It's very slight. And so if you have, again, a situation where there's not really much reflection happening, and you put one of these volumes and you say it's useless, it does nothing, well, it is doing something, but maybe it's so subtle it's not worth putting one in. But I would say in most cases it is. Again, these are just wonderful to use. I want to show you the reflective door here that we have. Let's tones over there. We've got those purples and violets, whatever, and then some of that rusty orange, you could see it. And then watch what happens when we go into or out of the volume, and see what happens with the blue light. Look at that. Wow, what a difference. Just stepping into the volume and then stepping out. Now remember, these effects take place when you're stepping in the volume, and it doesn't matter how far the object is away from you. If it's visual and you're in the volume, so if that door was open and I could see all the way out there far away and there was reflective objects, this volume will take effect on those objects because it's me being in the volume is making the effect happen. Once I step out of the volume, it no longer takes effect, the cube map scheme that I have for reflection. So it's nice to know that these volumes do work, and they work wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And let me show you just before we go here onto something quickly, finish this video up. I want to show you that bottle. And look at the richness too of, it takes away that blue. The blue it just sort of washes out the tones in these chairs, and it's like a haze. See that? I could see that blue reflective light right there, really strong. Look at it. Right there, with certain spots, depending on how you're getting the angle of that reflection. But when you're out of the volume, you're getting the outside light reflecting, and it's blue. And then watch when you step in, watch those blues just go away. Bam. That's just so nice. Look at that. It just takes away all that washy blue that's coming from the outside. And we're controlling the colors with a more artificial light and artificial reflection. It's an interior reflection that we're trying to achieve, not an exterior. And so anyways, let's go over a couple things real fast and end the video here. One thing is priority settings. Now that one we're going to show you. We're going to put this volume on and take a ride over to quickly over to where I have the other volume set up, and we'll go over this really fast. Now the only time you have to be concerned with the priority setting, and as you slide it up, of course, the more priority it gives the volume, but the only time you have to use this is when you're dealing with more than one volume, and if the volume is in the other volume. So let's say I have a bunch of these volumes, reflection volumes, set up in interior buildings throughout the map. And then let's say I have a lighting management volume the size of the whole area, or even the size of the map. So one volume is going to be inside the other volume. And so these settings for priority is for one volume to take priority over the other volume, or for one volume to dominate the other volume. So if you want this volume to be stronger in its effect than this one, then set the priority higher for this one, because you want its effect that you have set to take over more than this volume, and vice versa. Or you know, use them, slide them up and down, see what effects you get. If you're not getting much change by putting them up or down, sometimes it's good to just leave them at 0. But anyways, that's the reason for the priority, is when you're dealing with more than one volume and one is inside the other, then you give priority to one volume over the other volume, and it dominates. And so you can slide these sliders, and each volume has its own priority setting. So you can come up with different combinations. Anyways, that is going to conclude with this And hopefully we've answered some questions. And again, I'm not going to cover everything that you're going to want to know in a video this short. I believe we just covered the basic stuff that we need to know. And hopefully maybe another video is warranted. We could talk a little bit more about these reflection management volumes and how they work with other volumes. There's other videos out there that made by other people in the Facebook groups. There's excellent videos. You should go check them out also. This video is just to add to the group of videos that's already out there, and hopefully it is covered maybe a few things that the other ones didn't, and maybe you understand the volumes a little bit better. At least that's what we're hoping for. Anyways, thank you for joining this video, and we will talk to you soon, and I hope you have a beautiful life. Take care. Thank you.